first knife away from her home. And Jim is riding in the front of the truck. Dave is sitting in the back with Miss Reno. And Jim just is acting like a jerk. Sheree pulled off the road an hour before sunset to give everybody a stretch break and decide where to make camp. Miss Reno tugged on Jim's arm to get his attention and whispered something to him. Miss Reno says there's a small oasis with a well of good water about 3 kilometers ahead, Jim told the rest. She said to turn left at the Twin Peaks and take the track between them. Dave and Sheree were impressed. Sheree followed Miss Reno's directions to an idyllic little patch of green about the size of a football field. The well turned out to be a round hole in the ground. If you were alone and fell in, you'd never get out. They saw water sparkle when they looked down into it. Miss Reno scrambled behind some bushes around a tall date palm and produced a bucket and a rope. Soon they were drinking fresh, cool, clear water. Sheree unloaded the stove and the pot and set them up in the shade and built a fire from palm leaves. Miss Reno filled the pot with water while Dave and Jim unloaded sleeping bags, cots, and a case of MREs. Jeff stayed alone on the truck. He's another character, looking sullenly into the distance, refusing to help, wishing he was somewhere else. Soon they had hot water for coffee and to heat their meals. Jim opened the case to offer to Miss Reno her choice. After dinner, Miss Reno, this is their first time away, so this is the first time alone together. After Miss Reno got a towel and washcloth and dipped a bucket of warm water from the pot and walked behind a big boulder for privacy. She knows what's what, Dave observed. A few minutes later, she returned looking freshly scrubbed. She stopped in front of Jim. "I am clean for my husband," she said with a shy smile. When they discussed the watch schedule, Ms. Reno surprised them by offering to take a watch. "Which would you prefer?" Dave asked. "The last one," she replied. "We must be armed," Dave said, nodding his head toward Jeff. "I am proficient with firearms," she replied. "He must be watched like a hawk." Wow, Dave thought Jim had a wife who would protect him. When night began to fall, they put out the fire and set up the cots. Ms. Reno struggled to get her cot set up. Jim wouldn't notice that she needed help. Dave became exasperated and came to help. He showed her how to set it up and placed the cot right beside Jim's. Then he handed her a sleeping bag, the sleeping bag Cleopatra had used, and showed her how to open and close it. Soon Dave was on watch, Sheree was already snoring, and Jim and Ms. Reno were snuggled inside their separate sleeping bags. "What do American women call their husbands?" Ms. Reno asked Jim. "By their first name." "What is your first name?" she asked. "James." She was quiet for a while before she said, "James is a good name. It is a strong name. The brother of Jesus, the Christian Messiah, was named James. He was a very strong man." Jim grunted. "Dave called you Jim," she said. "What is Jim?" "It's my nickname." "So your wife should call you James and your friends call you Jim." "You can call me Jim too," he replied. "It's okay." "What is okay?" "It means it's all right to call me Jim." "Okay, Jim," she replied, emphasizing the K and OK and the M and Jim. Dave was having difficulty controlling his laughter. "Miss Reno, could I go to sleep? It's been a hard day." "Am I annoying my new husband?" she asked. "Yeah," Jim replied. "I do not wish to annoy my new husband. After I learn your ways, I will not annoy you." "Just be quiet and go to sleep," Jim said firmly. "I will be quiet, Jim," she said. "I'm too excited about my new husband to sleep." "Being quiet is good enough, Miss Reno." "Okay, Jim," Free replied, emphasizing the K and the M. Dave burst out laughing. "What's with you, Dave?" Jim asked. "She's going to be the toast of the town in New Bern, North Carolina," Dave replied between guffaws. "What is the toast of the town?" Ms. Reno asked. Jim didn't answer, and Dave kept laughing.